Hi guys, and welcome to part 1 of my general and common tips and tricks video for Hoya cross edges. In this video I'll be going over some of the basic and intermediate level Hoya tricks that I think everyone should know, and hopefully regardless of your speed level you can pretty easily incorporate these into your solves. Just to note that when I'm demonstrating most of these cases I will be using a 5x5 because it has both main edge piece types, that is wings and midges, while 6x6 and 7x7 have outer and inner wings. They do function the same, so any relevant tips that are specific to other cubes will be done on those, but largely I'll be showing you just on a 5x5 for clarity. Now, if the wing is in the front right slot but oriented, then a nice solution you can do is R wide, U prime, R wide prime to set it up to here, and then insert with U, R wide, U prime, R wide prime. And again, this works exactly the same on the left. I'm not going to show this for every case, I'm just showing you that it works. Now, any other case where the wing is misoriented, for example this one, you can just do 1 or 2 moves to move it to the top layer, like that, and then insert it. And it's important to note that if you have a solved cross edge here already, then once you've done that setup move and inserted it, you need to undo the setup move. If the wing is down here, then we can just do 1 move to move it to the top, and then insert it like normal. And then same thing if it's in the back over here, and again it's misoriented, we can just do 1 move to bring it up to here, insert, and then undo that move. Now if the wing is on this side, and you can see we have our empty slot here, so we can actually set it up to this case, which is also a 3 mover like that. And then again, if it's in the back here, we have a solved cross edge here, we can just do R2 to set up to this case, R wide U, R wide prime to solve it, and then R2 again to fix. So in short, any case where the wing is misoriented like this can be set up in 1 or 2 moves to this, or to this case, both of which are 3 movers. Now, for cases where the wing is oriented and stuck somewhere, then you can either bring it to the top, just like that with 1 move, and then solve this case, or you could try and misorient it in the process by doing something like, in this case you could do F prime, L prime, F, like that, and that puts this here. If the wing is oriented and stuck in a slot like this, then a cool trick you can use here is to bring this empty slot where the wing needs to go up to the U layer with a wide R2 like that, and then we can insert this piece up to here with something like U prime, L prime, U, L, and then undo the R wide 2. Now this also works and is especially helpful for cases where the wing is oriented in a back slot. Now these are quite nasty cases normally, but if I wanted to solve this piece, then I could do R wide 2, U prime, L, U, L prime, and then R wide 2 again. And it works on the right as well. We've got this piece here in the back, and we can do R wide 2, U, R, U prime, R wide 2. Now you'll notice that to set up to cases on the left, then I did a 4 move trigger to insert the piece, and that's because this cross edge is solved, so we don't want it to get disturbed when we do that solution. Whereas when we've got cases on the right like this, when we do that first R wide 2, then this cross edge gets moved to the top layer, so there's nothing down here that we need to preserve, so we can just do 3 moves, U, R, U prime, like that, and then undo, and everything's fine. You can also do the same trick for this case, again where we've got this wing here and it's oriented and needs to go here. You can do that if you want, it's quite short, but I prefer the trick that I showed you before, which is that. I think that's faster. Now these cases apply to every size cube, you can do them on everything. So as we can see here, if we're looking at this green edge here, we've got 1 piece solved, and scanning around we can see the other piece in the back here. We can do exactly the same trick, R wide 2, U, R, U prime, R wide 2, just to solve it like that. That works exactly the same on 4x4 as it does on 5x5. And then coming on to 6x6, again, works exactly the same way. Let's take this piece for example. We want to insert it to here. We can't do a 3 mover, importantly, we can't just do that because that unsolves this wing. So we'll just treat it like any of the other cases. We want to bring it to the U layer in 1 move like that, then this is now a 3 mover that we can insert to here with slice moves, just like that, and then undo this if we need to. And again, this case, we can't do the way I showed you before for the outer wings because it will mess up this one. So what we can do here is we can do a small R2 slice like that to set up this empty slot to the top here. And then we can do U, R, U prime, R prime, and then the small R2 slice. Now something that's important to note here is in this case, because we're just doing an R slice move, then this cross edge will stay where it is. So unlike before, we can't just do 3 moves to set up. We have to do the last one to make sure this cross edge is preserved. And then the back slots are the same. I'll show you on this 7x7. So let's say we wanted to do this piece back here. Again, we can just do a 1 move setup like that, bring it to the U layer, insert with slice moves, and then undo that if we need to. And same again here for this case. This time we've got our oriented wing in the back here. So we can do the slice move like that, U, R prime, U prime, R, to put that piece here, and then slice back down, and it's solved. Now these cases are great, I think, because you can largely do them from home grip, and that's really nice, and they're also quite efficient. So they're really good tools to have in your arsenal, and they can be expanded upon as well, which I should hopefully have a video out specifically about that in the near future, so stay tuned for that. So that covers the wings. Now I'm going to talk about the midges, and they're pretty similar. In general, if a wing is in a side slot or in the bottom layer, for example, then you want to use the same idea and try to set it up to the U layer to one of the insertions that I've shown you before. So like this case, for example, we've got our wing misoriented in a front slot. So what we can do is bring it to the U layer, just like that, with 3 moves, and then insert it as we already know how to. Something you could also note here is at the start of this case, we do a U move to set up the midge to here. So if you had this case, for example, and you wanted to take this out, then put this midge piece straight away onto the left to save yourself a move. So in this case, you could do R, U2, R prime, then it's over here, and then we just do M prime, U prime, M. And then for oriented cases, it's very nice as well. Again, you can just, for this case, you can bring it to the top layer with R, U, R prime, and then just insert with M prime, U2, M. And again, the same thing works on the left. You can bring it to the U layer like that. I'm going to put it over here this time, and then just insert it with 3 moves. And then again, it works for back slots as well. So we've got our piece here now. So we can just bring it to the U layer to the front like that, and then insert it. Okay, so the next tip I want to give you is about solving pieces like this that are already paired up together, but not necessarily in the D layer. Now this doesn't apply for 4x4, obviously, because there are only 2 pieces, so if they're already paired together, you can just insert them without layer moves. But this, you'll find probably that on 6x6 and 7x7, every now and again you'll get lucky and you'll get something like this, sometimes in your solves. So I think it's important to learn how best to insert these. So here we see on 5x5 we've got this 1 wing piece solved here, and then we have these 2 block of 2 pieces in the U layer that are both misoriented. And we can just insert this as we would normally with 1 wing, but instead of just moving this first layer up, we can instead slice up 2 layers like that and insert them together. So for this case, you can do U, 3R wide, U prime, 3R wide prime. And the same thing works for this 3 mover. If you've got 2 pieces here together like that, and again, they're misoriented, then we can do 3R wide, U, 3R wide prime. Now for this case, there are a couple of ways of thinking about it. You can't use all 3R wide moves like before, because that will break the block up. What you can do first is use 3R wide moves to insert the midge. You can do 3R wide, U2, 3R wide prime. And then you have this wing unsolved and you can just insert it normally like that. So that's one option. Another option is to just put this block over here on the left, and then you can do 3R wide, U, 3R wide prime to flip it like that, and then just insert it as before. This case also works really nicely. So we've got the block here, and this time it's oriented in the front slot. And so we can do 3R wide, U prime, 3R wide prime, to put it in the top here in a nice orientation. And then again, just insert it like we did before. Now for something like this, again, we've got a misoriented block, and we can apply exactly the same concept as I just showed you to cases where you've got two pieces together. So in this case, it's misoriented, so we can just do a one move setup to bring it to the U layer, insert it, and then undo that move. And it works for the back slot as well. In this case, we're looking at back right. We have our block that's misoriented, so we can do what we did before, and we can do an R2 to set up to this case. And then now we insert the block with 3R wide U, 3R wide prime, and then undo that R2 at the end. And this also works for oriented pieces. So this time, because we've got two slots unsolved, we want to move both the slots to the top layer with 3R wide 2. And then we can insert these pieces back to here with U, R, U prime, just like before, and then finish again with 3R wide 2. And if you had the case on the left, we've got the block in the back left here and it's oriented. We can do 3R wide 2 again. And then just as we would for just one piece, we can do U prime, L, U, L prime, to put the block here, and then 3R wide 2 to solve it. And this of course applies to 6x6 and 7x7 as well. So here we've got something like this. We've got two pieces solved here and then the other two are here. So this is a nice block case. This is just a 3 mover that we can insert like that. And if, for example, it were in the back here, then again, we can just do our 3R wide 2 to start, U, R, U prime, 3R wide 2 to solve it. And on the off chance you get very lucky and have a block of 3 pieces, then again, you can just treat them exactly the same. You can move them to the side, bring these 3 layers up and insert like that. And even if they're in the back left like this, you can do a 4R wide 2 to set the slots up to here, and then U prime, L, U, L prime, and then undo to solve it like that. And the last thing I want to show you with this is here, you might get something like this on 7x7 where you've got 2 wings solved here and then one here, and then the other 2, the midge and the inner wing, are in a block like this. And what you can do in this case, again, insert it normally, but just slice up those 2 layers like that, and then slice them back. And then if you've got a case like this, where they're in the back, this time they're misoriented, so we can do a one move setup. Now we can't set up to this case again because we've got this wing that's solved and we don't want to break that up. So what we'll do instead of an R2 is just an R prime to bring them to the U layer. Then we can slice the slot up, insert them just like that with 3 moves, and then undo the R if we need to. Okay, and the last thing I want to show you in this video is the idea of cancelling between inserting pieces. So what that means is inserting pieces one at a time, but doing so in a way that lets you cancel 1 or 2 moves that will make your solutions flow a bit better and should reduce your overall move count, which is always a good thing. So an example of this, in this case, we've got, as you can see here, one wing solved, the other wing is here, and the midge is here, and both of these 2 pieces are misoriented, which is normally quite good. Now, if we were to insert the midge first, like this, then we could notice that that turns this good wing into a bad wing. So we don't want to do that. So instead, what we want to do is insert this piece first, because that will keep this in a good orientation. And in this specific case, where we've got our wing in the front here, and then the midge on the left, then if we insert the wing just like that, then we're left with this midge that's already set up for M prime, U prime, M, just like that. But when I say M prime, U prime, M, I'm not actually doing a single finger trick like that, because that's quite difficult. What I'm actually doing is 3R wide, R wide prime. I'm doing effectively 2 moves like that. So what we can do with that is we can cancel one of those R wide moves when we're inserting this. So in this case, we've got these 2 pieces. We're going to insert the wing first, just like that. And instead of doing an R wide prime, what we're going to do is we're going to do an R wide 2 and then a 3R wide. And that brings up this middle layer at the same time. And then we can just do a U prime and an M like that. So the solution overall for this case then is U, R wide, U prime, R wide 2, 3R wide, U prime, M. Now this also works when the two pieces are opposite each other, like this. Now you could insert the midge, just like that, and then do a U2 and insert the wing. But there's a way that you can save yourself a move if you insert the wing first. You can do, from this angle, similar idea, you can do R wide, U prime, R wide 2, 3R wide, and then the midge is over here, so we could just this time do a U and then an M. Now this also works when you have this case. We have this time the wing is here, and this is again the other 3 mover. So again, it ends with an R wide prime, so instead of doing just an R wide prime like that, we can cancel it into an R wide 2 and then a 3R wide to bring that middle layer up, and then insert the midge like that. Now this is especially helpful on puzzles like 6x6 where you've got quite a lot of edges to solve, and chances are every now and again you'll need to do some inner slice moves like this. So it's really useful to minimize those where possible. And so a case like this where we've got this wing and then this inner wing here works exactly the same. We can insert one, cancel into inserting the other. And then on 7x7 again this works exactly the same way. Take this case where we're doing blue. We've got this outer wing here and then this inner wing here. We can insert this one first, just like that, and then cancel into the slice move. And then we've got this wing here that we can just move across and insert like that. And there's of course a way you can apply this to 4x4 as well. So in this case, let's say we're doing the green edge. We've got this piece and this piece. Now instead of just inserting one with outer layer moves and then inserting the other like that, which is quite good, it's 6 moves, but there's a way to do it in 5, and that is by inserting this piece with the slice move and then this piece with the slice move. So you can do R wide, U prime, R wide 2 to cancel, F, R wide to finish off, just like that. And of course, if we go back to 6x6, another even layered cube, exactly the same thing applies. We've got these two and these two. We can just insert them in 5 moves just like that, and that's really good. So those were some basic and a couple of intermediate level Hoya tricks for cross edges. Hopefully no matter what your speed, you should be able to implement these fairly easily into your solves, because I think they're all quite intuitive and they're really, really handy to know, because they do come up quite a lot, cases like this. These are all ways to help you save moves during your cross edges, which I think is really important, and all of them are fairly ergonomic as well. Stay tuned for part 2 of this, which is more advanced level tricks. That'll be coming out very soon. And yeah, in the meantime, do some untimed solves, have a play around with tricks like this and see what else you can find. Hope this helps. Thanks a lot for watching.